Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ricky C. Williams podcast, the number one anger management podcast in the world. Thank you and everyone for coming back each and every week to listen, learn, and to grow. Now, today we are going to talk about something that can either fuel us or keep us back. And we're talking about criticism. If it's moving us forward, we're going to talk about self-criticism. But if we talk about holding us back, we're talking about criticism that's on the outskirts, what other people may say about you. But we're going to jump into this. But it's how we handle criticism that makes us grow or falter. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, one thing I got to start off with is this, is that we are human and we all make mistakes. Let me say that again. We're human and we all make mistakes. And you learn from these mistakes. Some people stay and sit and become depressed because of the mistakes they make. And then they have some people say, hey, I made a mistake. I'm going to do better. And we have to look at it as an opportunity because, again, we're human. I say this all the time. I said this to clients. If we came with an instruction manual, we would be the best people in the universe. However, we don't. So, you're going to get critiqued. Let's be honest. Some people may not like my background of green and blue. It may look better in a different color. However, I can take that as criticism to better me. Or I can say, oh my God, I cannot believe they hate the choices of colors. I could never do a video ever again. Let me go back to just doing audio podcasts. But I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I like the color pattern. Some people may, beat themselves up. But not today. Again, my podcast is moving people forward. That's what we're going to do. Moving forward. So we're going to talk about 3 types of criticism. The one that beats us up the most is self-criticism, which I think everyone goes through because we are our biggest critics. And we're going to talk about how that could be negative or positive. A lot of times it's more negative than positive. And we're going to talk about how destructive multiple layers of criticisms can be, such as the external type of criticism, like our friends, our family, if you want to call them that. But then there's constructive criticism, where we can go to people who we trust to tell us things. They're not yes men or women. They're people who will talk to us and say, hey, this is something that you can work on. It's like, you need to look in the camera more, see how you look off sometime. You breathe through your mouth, you need to breathe through your nose. It could be criticisms like that, right? So those things are okay. When you have constructive criticism, you have external criticisms from people who could be jealous, who don't have your work ethic. And then there's self-criticism when you can beat yourself down or motivate yourself to go to higher heights. Now, when we discuss like self-criticism, I think, don't quote me on this, the opposite of that is like self-motivation. I can criticize myself or I can motivate myself. Now, it's kind of challenging because it's going to always be that voice in your head. You could do better. You could do this. You could do that. But what I've seen successful people do is actually have the self-motivating. They may criticize or be critical of themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. But they see the opportunity to get better. I think that's the fine line between successful people and not so successful people. It's how they view or how they criticize themselves to the point of motivation, or criticize themselves to the point of beating themselves down. Now, when you were younger, you didn't deal with a lot of criticism because it was always go, you can do it, go, you can do it. When you're running a race, go, you can run faster, you can do it, you can do it. Then you start believing, I can do it. I remember the little engine that could. That's this type of stuff. Again, I'm 48. In the books that we would read, it was always about, you can do it. There's hard times, but you can do it. Keep going, keep going. Even Pinocchio was a wooden character that became a real boy. And it comes to a point where it's based off of your belief. Now, we're going to come back to that because it's necessary. But we have to talk about external criticisms, because a lot of times when we go through things, instead of motivating ourselves, we go to people that may not have our best interest at heart. There comes a time where a lot of people who may see your progress have some negativity boiling up on the inside because they don't see what you're doing, and then all of a sudden they start criticizing you, not off of bettering you, but off of trying to bring you down or keep you to their level. Let's keep it like that. Keep it to their level. So if I'm trying to play baseball and I said I'm going to become a part of the MLB at 48, some people may say, oh, you know what, you can do it. Because a lot of players play until their 50s. How old was Nolan Ryan when he retired? Some people retire in their 40s, late 40s. They start off in their teens and play until their 40s. But if I said, hey, you know, I'm going to try out, somebody like, why you? You're old. Some people say keep your dreams to yourself. I always say tell people your dreams, and then you actually see the people who are for you and who are not. Telling small people big dreams will keep you small. Listening to these people who you think you trust can actually lead you into a place of stagnation. So discussing this with certain people, listening to their negative comments, can actually be very destructive to your life, destructive to your dreams. I can honestly say one of the things that I wanted to do in life, and it's just silly, I'm going to tell everybody this, I wanted to be a fashion designer. I used to draw in my room, and my dad was like, son, what are you doing? I said, you know, Dad, I probably want to go into fashion design. I could have been FUBU before FUBU was FUBU. Not at all. But I like to doodle, not to the point of to their level of success, but I would do that. And my dad was like, no, don't do that. You are so great in math. You're so amazing. Don't get me wrong, I am great with numbers. He's like, well, you should go to school either to be a doctor or to go into business. I did that, you know, for my dad's sake and not for my own. And because I listened to my father, because he, was the patriarch of the family, I put my goals on hold. I could have traveled the world designing for, a lot of people. But I went a route based off of listening to someone else saying, oh, that's fine and all, but this is your strength. Amazing now when you get older, you're like, well, no, my strength is talking and having fun now. It probably wasn't going to be fashion, but you never know. It could have happened. But because of external criticism, it got me to the point of not picking up a pen and drawing, or it could have led me to photography, or it could have led me to so many different outlets that I just shut it down. I love what I do now, but that's something that pops into my mind to where I won't tell my kids what to do when it comes to their dreams. I'm going to introduce them to their dreams instead of criticizing, oh, you can't do that. Why would you even think about doing that? I'm not going to challenge them in a negative way. I'm going to say, okay, if you want to be an astronaut, teacher, / fireman, we're going to go to Houston, Texas to look at rockets. We'll talk to teachers if you want to be a teacher. We'll go to the fire department if you want to be a fireman or firewoman. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to criticize their decisions. I will help them follow their dreams, but not criticize, because I understand now, growing up, how that affected me. So let's focus on, if we do critique and not criticize, critique our children or people who look at us in high regard, let's focus on their dreams and not ours. Now, moving on, we have to learn how to embrace constructive criticism. Now, again, I just started podcasting with the video. This may be terrible to a lot of people. The microphone could be terrible. The lighting could suck. However, if someone says that's a podcaster, hey man, there's a better microphone that you can use. The way you talk with your hands too much. You lean in or you move back and the microphone needs to be level. There are certain things that a podcaster can tell me that I will take because this person has taken those steps before me. I don't care if they only have 2 subscribers. That's 2 more than I have. I'm going to actually listen because they see things from a different perspective, especially in a space that I'm trying to get into. Here's my rule of thought. If I want to be a football player, I will not ask a basketball player how to play football. You may know how to play, but they practice and go with the fundamentals, so therefore they can critique you. I practice Muay Thai. My coach will critique a kick. You didn't turn your hip when you made this kick. You didn't throw your punch correctly. You didn't throw an elbow correctly. You didn't throw a knee correctly. Because that's what he does. That's all he does. I'm not going to say his name. But that's what happens. That is constructive criticism because that person wants me to get better. I'm not getting into any tournaments. I just want to keep myself in shape. And if I have to protect my family, that's what I will do. I will listen to him. So we have to understand how valuable those critiques are, those criticisms are. It's always meant to improve. It's never meant to hurt. It may sound a little harsh but it's only meant to make you better. And when someone offers you this type of criticism, view it as guidance. But in order for someone to guide you, they have to have gone down that road. I believe that John Jones could teach me how to be a champion, because he's a champion. I believe that there are a lot of people who are in MMA can teach me how to be an MMA. And they probably drag me through the mud. But it's worth it because they want to see me better. Because their level of competition is so high and the things that they do are so high and great. They want to see me there. They don't see me as competition. And when you have those people giving you constructive criticism, that's how you take it as guidance, and it propels you forward in your journey in whatever area that is. It could be in finance. It can be in gardening. I bought some seeds with my kids, and we're going to plant some beets. We're going to plant watermelon. We already have an apple tree in the backyard, and we're planting a lemon tree. Now, someone can tell me, hey, man, this is not how you water it. This is not the hydration system that you need. And because this is what we have and this is how this is working, let's do it this way. I can take that because you have a garden. I can really, listen to you and move forward. Now, that's true evolution. That's true development. That's true growth when someone doesn't see you as competition, only sees you to move in a better way than you're moving. I always said that, in order to make a change, it's a 180-degree turn 1 degree at a time. So you don't automatically have to make this, immediate change in order for growth to happen. And, if you're at 0 degrees and you try to get to 180, you go to 1, you may get, critiqued a little bit, 2 and 3 and 4. And then when you get to like 60, you may not get as much criticism. But those people who are doing that has been where you're trying to go, man, listen, man, that's a wealth of knowledge. You cannot do this by yourself. God did not create you to be alone in business, in life. So embrace that. So when you do, it's all about learning, growing, and moving forward. And this is something that we have to do. We have to take chances. So again, we go back to make a mistake. And again, we go with self-criticism. Because if someone is criticizing you and they're doing it for the better, then you have it in your head that, I'm messing up, instead of saying, I'm learning. You don't lose, you learn. Let's keep going. Absorb what is being told to you by those who are not trying to harm you with the things that they say. I remember playing baseball when I was younger, and my mom used to come to the games, and I would dread for my mom to come to the games. I would love it when my dad comes to the games, but when my mom comes, she would call me a windbag because I had asthma, and I would perform poorly when my mom was there. Disgustingly poor. But if my dad was off of work and he would come to a game, I'm hitting, I was pitching. It was amazing. My mom's there. I'm in my head like she's about to say something negative. Oh my God. And she would applaud me when I pitched, but when I was hitting, oh my God, it seemed like she was right in my ear. Why are you letting him hit, coach? Just let him pitch. And with that external criticism, I had self-criticism, which led to self-doubt. that I could not hit. I can pitch. She had nothing to say about pitching. My dad, he would stand on the left field line and he'll have his arms, because my dad was like 6'6", so he would have his arms on the fence and he was just watching me. Go, son. Once I heard that, Ken Griffey Jr., I'm acting up. I am acting up. Hitting, running, sliding, pitching. I'm doing it all. I just heard that. Go, son. The end. What? I'm going to the major leagues. So in certain environments with certain people, you may have self-doubt. In the same environment with different people, you may have better results. But if I would have kept the same, hey, you can do this, you got this, you'd win. You'll be a winner. I was a winner when my dad was there. I was the best pitcher when my mom was there. I'm trying to throw a ball through the catcher's glove. I don't know if I was trying to hit my mom's face, imagining it, but I'm throwing the heat. But it was, again, I was criticizing myself, saying that I couldn't hit. I allowed external criticism to say that I couldn't hit. But then when I had someone who played baseball, which was my dad, everything was different because I saw him in a different light. And it gave me that energy to do better, because I'm like, okay, this is the guy who can pitch and switch hit, and he can run, and he can do all this, and it's me, I'm going to do it. There wasn't any self-doubt. It was the person who was throwing the baseball with me, the person who was in the backyard. I remember putting the ball on a tee so I can hit the ball. My dad taught me how to throw a curveball. I'm throwing a curveball and a splitter. I think I was like 10 or 11. And man, it was so amazing because I learned from somebody who was doing it. It gave me growth and something to look forward to. So understand that, again, in certain environments with people who have already done it, you are capable of doing better because they're critiques. Because my dad did the same thing. Like after the games, hey, son, you did a good job, man. Like, yeah. I see that you kept trying to throw that curveball, and when you throw the curveball, you're not throwing from the hip, you're throwing from the shoulder. You can get shoulder injuries. And I was like, okay, great. How you plant your feet. So we would watch baseball like crazy, and it was amazing. Now, don't get me wrong, my mom, I don't know if she was trying to motivate me in her way to be a better hitter, but she couldn't say anything about my pitching. She loved me pitching and striking kids out left and right. But again, just getting to the point where get out your head. I know it's easy to say, but focus on who you allow in your head to move you forward. I love my mom to death. There are certain things I can't talk to my mom about. And my dad's in heaven now. But there's still conversations that I have with him, and it motivates me. So, again, there's 3 types of criticism. You got the destructive kind, sucks. You got the constructive kind, you're moving forward. Then you got self-criticism, which, man, will beat you up every time. Will beat you up every time. Now, you have to say to yourself, how do I transform the inner critic in me? How do I create a more supportive voice, if you will? Instead of saying that, man, I screwed this thing up. I screwed this relationship up. I screwed this job up. You say, I got this. I learned from my last relationship that taking more time to know a person would make a stronger relationship. Or, my God, relationships suck. Women in this day and age are terrible. Which one will make me happy and get into a happy relationship, and which one would keep me lonely and in a terrible relationship? So I am prepared and capable of being in a relationship, which is different than, man, this modern age women suck and the only thing they want is my money. I can do self-criticism, or I can build myself up to be the best version that I can be, so I can be with the best woman that's going to love me and my kids, and if she has kids, love her and her kids. But I cannot be the best if I'm always criticizing myself and having this negative inner critic instead of one that is supportive in the decisions that I've made. Again, we all going to make some terrible, terrible decisions in life. And it's okay. Forgive yourself. Give yourself grace. Now, how else can you manage your self-criticism? You got to become your biggest cheerleader. Rah, 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 sis, boom, bah. You got to be that. And it's, to me, I say it's like borderline cockiness for yourself. It's not to go out there and tell everybody, look, how amazing I am. It's to say, I'm too big to be belittled. I used to say that in college. I'm too big to be belittled. And I walk that way. And when bad things happen, I'm still too big to be belittled. Now, you get knocked down, but you got to get up and say, you know what? I messed up. Okay. Great. Let's keep going. I can't stay down because I can't teach my kids to stay down. I'm too big to be belittled. I'm too big for this. Be your own cheerleader. Again, cockiness, no. Telling everybody, I'm too big to be belittled. No, say it to yourself, I'm too big to be belittled. I got people watching me. I got 2 little ones watching me. I have to be the best. Ricky, you messed up. I did. Let's keep going. I won't do that again. Let's keep going. I'm going to take good feedback. You sucked. I did. And I did. But because I sucked here, doesn't mean my world sucked. Doesn't mean that I sucked. It just means I made a poor decision and I'm going to make a better one the next time when it comes back around. I will not allow self-criticism that's negative to take root within my mind because it's going to grow and fester. Again, as my mom used to say, a seed grows into a weed. A weed goes into a forest, and you can't see the forest from the trees. Which means if you allow a negative situation to stay in your head and you're constantly beating yourself up, you're a bad person, you're a bad person, you're a bad person, it's going to continue to grow. Which means you won't be able to see your true self because the only thing that you're focusing on is the negative. And we can't do that. That's how we change our inner criticism, is by building yourself up, not allowing anything negative to grow in your mind. Did you mess up? Yes. I would tell people who had to take my anger management class, they freshly got out of jail. And everyone said that they're a screw up, so they believe they're a screw up. I said, no, you're not. Did you mess up? Yeah, everyone mess up. Did you get punished? You did. Can you bounce back? You can. There's this man named Moses in the Bible who actually murdered somebody. And yet, he was led to lead people out of Egypt, right? There were so many people that have gone through so many different things. Every leader that you know wasn't always a leader. you hear about the great things, but you also have to look back, a few steps back and look at all the screw ups that they've made. They have some great leaders that were poor fathers. And toward the end of their life, they became the best fathers in the world. They have some great music producers. They have some great basketball players, and they're great there, but they have some shortcomings in other places. And yet and still they said, hey, I may have screwed up here, but I'm going to level it off and be better. And we do it because, hey, we don't come with an instruction guide. So that's how you handle these types of criticisms and negative feedback that's in your own mind. Now, how to embrace constructive criticism. Let's look at what a person says that you find in high regard as already taking these steps. Let's look at what you like most about what they said. Even if it's negative, what do you like about it? It's like, well, you can kick harder, Ricky. Which means I'm kicking hard. Which means I may need to turn my hips more. Maybe I need to work on opening my hips more. Maybe I need to work on learning how to throw my hands down when I'm bringing my foot up for a kick. Maybe I need to learn how to keep my hands in a certain position when I throw a front kick, side kick, roundhouse. So it's taking what they say. You can see the negative, but you can also see the positive within that. And also understand their positive intentions and how they're highlighting great things. My coach never said I didn't throw an amazing punch. So I just need to kick harder. He didn't say I didn't throw great elbows. He said I need to kick harder. So let's understand, and we can even ask for specifics. We can ask them, hey, what else can I improve on? Maybe I need to, that there are ankle stretches that, I may need to do. I may need to do more squats to strengthen my kicks. Maybe I need to do more core exercises. It's so many things that a person can see that, again, it's not competition, that nothing is bubbling underneath, and they're giving you positive feedback as well as criticism. What they're doing for you is driving your improvement. So, as we wrap up today, the things that we have to remember is that everything that we're learning and we're growing from or growing to is a lifelong journey. Man, there's going to be so many ups and downs. There's going to be some calm times in this ocean. Then there's going to be some big waves that's going to rock you. And this is when you remember you are great. You're too big to be belittled. You're amazing. But you can never have a testimony without going through a test. You can never grow without something stretching you. Ever. Ever. Just know that you are doing great. Embrace the successes as well as embrace the mistakes. You're doing amazing. You will always do amazing. Not because you're listening to me. Okay. Maybe because you're listening to me. No, joking. You're going to be amazing because that's just who you are. That's just what you are. And sometimes you got to remind yourself of that. Like, hey, I'm amazing. God did not make a mistake when he created me. And wherever I'm at right now within my journey, that's where I need to be. And let's be that. So, I want to say thank you for giving me your time, whether you're walking, whether you're in your car, whether you are cooking, whether you are walking your dog. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, really. You didn't have to be here. You didn't have to listen to little old me. Who am I? So until the next time, I am Ricky C. Williams, urging you to stay informed, stay engaged. Now, GBG, go be great.